I've made the 1940s dress of my dreams, and I can't wait to show you. For this particular dress, you also need to know at least part of the backstory. It all started... Let me get some tea. So it all started a few months ago with a harmless conversation on Instagram that pretty soon turned into more than just a conversation and led to a man buying a plane ticket and a woman sewing a 1940s outfit and learning to do pin curls. More on that later, so make sure you stick around to the end of the video. Since this doesn't explain the need for a 1940s dress, I should probably mention that he's a vintage dresser, and you can check out his profile on Instagram here, and that we were planning on doing a little World War II reenactment while he was over here. So I did what any reasonable girl in my situation would have done, and I went to Goldhawk Road. Goldhawk Road is that one street in London that has tons and tons of fabric shops, and honestly the selection is amazing. This sort of dark pink is one of my signature colors, so I decided to make the 1940s dress in that color specifically, and then all that was left to do is to figure out the exact design, and I did that, as always, with extensive research on Pinterest before settling on a design like this. The estimated year I'm going for is 1942, so that would still have been during World War II. And for that reason, the skirt is going to be a little less full than I'd normally make a dress skirt, because fabric rationing would still have applied, and gathers and pleats would have seen as excessive and unpatriotic. Because of this, the skirt, for once, was more of a challenge to figure out than the dress top, and I did research different pleat and gather placements. But what this all comes down to is that I will be using 6 panels for my skirt, and the waist part of each panel will be 17 centimeters wide, and the bottom part will be 28 centimeters wide and slightly curved to accommodate for the circle skirt curve. This does not include seam allowance yet, but just for reference how I calculated the figure for the waist, the total waist circumference is based on my actual waist circumference plus 40 centimeters or 16-inch for pleats, because I will be doing a total of 4 box pleats, 2 at the front and 2 at the back. I thought that I had settled for box pleats, but as it happened, I just ended up gathering the skirt because the box pleats look kind of awkward, and that's exactly what happens to me and my dresses pretty much every time I touch needle and thread. So let's go ahead and start cutting out the fabric. Using a 6 gore setup for my fabric is going to also use less fabric than a third circle skirt, which would be about the same in terms of fullness. So this is the basic shape of the skirt gore, and now we need to cut out 6 of these exactly like that. Now I used a fabric scrap to draft the top part of the bodice on myself by pinning it to my clothing and then draping the desired shape. Basically, this is just the top part of a shirtwaist, and it has to be slightly wider at the bust so that I can accommodate these little gathers. Just using that to create my pattern, and I'm going to leave myself some extra space here, rather too much than too little. So you should up with a shape that looks a little bit like this. And if you just look at this on me, I would this would go on my shoulder here. Too much up the shoulder seams. Make sure that you add enough ease here to go underneath your arm. And then you have the parts here that will just get gathered, so that the slightly diagonal part here will get pulled in and gathered like so. But this looks pretty good at the moment. I may have a little bit too much of a curve at the bottom, but that just means that I will end up having a little bit of extra seam allowance there. I just tried this on myself and this is pretty good.
So it's time to cut this part out of the pink fabric as well, and of course we'll need to add extra seam allowance, except for at the bottom. And here's the pile of fabric pieces. This is actually the first time I've cut out a dress entirely before starting to assemble it, and I think this will save me quite a bit of time. And now that I have all of these pieces cut out, we're literally going to put everything together, starting with the skirt. And I have also cut out some pocket pieces. So I've cut out 4 of these shapes, and they are going to go into the skirt seams. The problem is that I'm doing a 6-panel skirt, and the side seams are going to sit not quite at the actual sides of the body, but slightly inwards. That's not going to be a huge thing, but that does mean that the pockets will sit slightly towards the front of the dress rather than at the actual sides. The pockets will go in first, so I'm going to take 2 of my skirt panels, which are identical, and then I'm going to open it up like so. And then what you want to do is put the pocket on here, and I want my pockets to sit 4 inches below the waist, so I'm just going to measure 4.5 inches here to take into account the seam allowance. I'm going to place my pocket there and pin. And then the other pocket half is going to go opposite that, like so. That's it. That's literally how you insert a pocket into a skirt seam.
And you are going to sew those skirt panels together. No, you're not actually.
And the first thing that you want to do now is to sew the pocket to the skirt along the side seams here. Step 2 is going to be to fold the pocket and the skirt apart like so, and you're then going to fold the seam allowance towards the pocket and sew that down. So we're basically understitching the pocket seam. Ideally you would press this in between. I'm just going to finger press this as I sew. And that's going to keep the pocket from creeping out of your side seams. So this is what it should look like. You've got the skirt and the pocket, and then you've got an extra line of stitching here on the inside of the pocket, and that will ensure that the pocket stays folded into the seam like so. Once the pockets are attached to the dress, I put everything together right sides facing and sewed down the side seam, then around the pocket before continuing down the side seam. Any other normal skirt panels were just stitched together right sides facing, and because I wanted to make sure that all of the seams match up with the bodice seams, I also had to redo part of the skirt. So if you're relatively new to sewing, don't beat yourself up. It happens all the time, and even when you're supposed to know better, you will still find yourself unpicking and redoing things with the majority of the projects you do. The bodice was basically improvised, and first things first, we had to sew together this pointy belt section. I'm basically making 2 of these because the belt section has a lining which will give some extra structure and support. The bust pieces needed to be gathered.
After that, we needed to attach the bust pieces to the belt section. So I gathered the bust and attached it, and this sounds easier than it was because I basically spent about 3 hours just trying to figure out how to get that right. I had to basically undo and redo the gathering a couple of times before it fit. I'm hand sewing for added accuracy here. Here I'm attaching the lining, which is basically going to sandwich the bust piece in between the front layer of the belt piece and the lining piece of the belt piece.
Right, let's do the back, shall we?
The back of the dress is just a standard dress bodice, and if you don't have a dressmaking pattern book yet that shows you how to draft your own patterns and that usually has a few basic pattern pieces in the back of the book to copy already, I'm going to link a few options for you down below because, as I said, every dressmaker should have one of these, and I basically use mine almost every time I make a dress. So those basic pattern blocks in particular are really useful to have handy.
So we've got the back panel, and we've got a very wonky, admittedly, part of the back belt, so to speak. I'm going to pin the back belt in place first, and then I'm going to add the either darts or little pleats, and then I'm going to sandwich the lining over that.
The bodice was stitched together at the shoulder seams and at one of the side seams, the left side seam staying open for now since that will be where the zipper goes. The sleeves had to be gathered top and bottom, and again for puffed sleeves you use a basic sleeve block and you add more width and more height to the arm curve, which gives you that extra bit of poofiness up top. I did this by hand and then I attached a sleeve binding before sewing the sleeve seam together. These puffed sleeves were just so adorable that I got sidetracked to do a little photo shoot with them. And then I got back to the problem at hand and attached them to the bodice. The collar is constructed very simply, and again, this is where a dressmaker's guide comes in really handy. It's basically a rectangle where a little curve is cut away so that the collar fits neatly to the rounded neckline. And it's basically constructed of an undercollar and a top collar, so I added fusible interfacing, sandwiched them together and attached them to the dress. Finally, the zipper was inserted and I had to cut open one of the side panels for that, since there's no side seam in this dress. And finally, time to attach the buttons. These are the ones that I chose. It was such a job to choose buttons for this dress, but I'm really happy with the ones I got, and so those were attached to the dress. And this is a little secret, but just one of those buttons is actually functional. And now for the final result. But before I can show you that, we obviously need to fix our hair and makeup, and that process starts the night before by pin curling all of our hair.